Joel Roth, head of trust and safety at Twitter, testified that he had had regular meetings with the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, and other folks regarding election security. During these weekly meetings, federal law enforcement agencies communicated that they expected a hack and leak operation. The expectations of a hack and leak operation were discussed throughout 2020, and he was told they would occur in a period shortly before the 2020 presidential election, likely in October. And finally, he said, I also learned in these meetings that there were rumors that a hack and leak operation would involve Hunter Biden. So, what did the government tell him? A hack and leak operation was coming. How often did the government tell him this? Repeatedly for a year. When did the government say it was going to happen? October of 2020. And who did the government say it would involve? Hunter Biden. Now think about it. Government had no evidence of any intrusions, no evidence of a hack and leak, yet for a year they tell Twitter that a hack and leak is coming, it's coming in October, and it will involve Hunter Biden. No evidence, but the FBI knows what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and who it's going to involve. Now that's amazing. That is amazing to me. Maybe they get the time right. We're kind of used to October surprises every 4 years. So maybe they get the time right. But they got the time, they got the method, and they got the person. That's amazing. It's almost like these guys were clairvoyant. How did they know? How did they know? Maybe it's because they had the laptop, and they had had it for a year. They had the laptop, they knew it wasn't hacked, but that's not what they told Twitter. They didn't tell Twitter that information, and Twitter believed, frankly, everything they said. In those weekly meetings, the FBI had built a cozy relationship with this tech company and others as well, we believe. Emails between the FBI and Twitter began with the greeting, hey, Twitter folks. Emails that asked Twitter to take down accounts and limit visibility of tweets. The FBI handed out security clearance to folks at Twitter. They communicated with Twitter on the secret teleporter app where messages disappear after a certain length of time. And of course, they paid Twitter $3.4 million. In addition, on August 6, 2020, the FBI briefed Senators Grassley and Johnson, and according to the senator's testimony last month in front of this committee, the briefing was bogus and done so someone could go leak that the briefing had happened and undermine the senator's investigation. In September of 2020, a government-funded think tank gets involved. They do a tabletop exercise. The participants include the New York Times, the Washington Post, and other mainstream media outlets. Facebook is there. Mr. Roth of Twitter is there. The organizer was the former CEO of NPR and the former head of news at Twitter. The mock exercise is hosted by the Aspen Institute. The Aspen Institute, which, by the way, in 2020, their budget was $9.3 million. $5 million from the State Department, $4 million from USAID. Almost all their budget. Guess the title. Guess the title of this exercise. The Aspen Digital Hack and Dump Working Group. And guess who the subject was? Guess who the subject was? Hunter Biden. That's amazing. October 14, 2020, the New York Post runs the story on the Biden laptop and Twitter takes it down, even though it was accurate and even though it didn't violate Twitter's rules. Other social media companies do the same. Mainstream press works to downplay and discredit the story. Finally, as if on cue, 5 days later, on October 19th, 51 former Intel officials signed a letter with the now famous sentence, the Biden laptop story has all the classic earmarks of a Russian information operation. Something that was absolutely false. Our government built a cozy relationship with big tech. They primed him for a hack and leak. That book. It's a section where you relate you and your family attended oral arguments at the court. You were there in the courtroom, and that directly involved your brother Paul, also a reverend. And I just want to read this section. You said, with the single rap of the gavel, Chief Justice William Rehnquist announced, we'll hear argument first this morning in number 95-1065. Reverend Paul Schenck and Dwight Saunders versus Pro-Choice Network of Western New York. Paul and I winked at each other, knowing we had made history with that Reverend in his name. It had been a minor victory when we persuaded the court that Reverend should remain before Paul's name, even though we had been told repeatedly that legal briefs never included such titles. You thought it was important that, obviously based on what you said, you thought it was important that the title Reverend be in front of Paul's name, is that right?
Correct.
And why was that?
Because we saw it as a religious liberty matter, and that would make it clear that it fit in that category.
Did Chief Justice Rehnquist really say that, the way I just read it from your book?
I can't say that I remember that.
Well, you're pretty darn specific here. You got the number, case number 95-1065. Very next word says Reverend Paul Schenck. You made it a big deal. Thought it's the first time it's ever happened. I'm just asking, did it really happen?
I wish I could tell. I would have to go back and review that.
So it may not have?
Possibly not.
Why do you say possibly not? You were emphatic in your book.
I would have to go back.
We did go back. We did go back, and I got the transcript right here. Proceedings, 10:05 a.m., Chief Justice Rehnquist. We'll hear argument first this morning in number 95-1065, Paul Schenck and Dwight Saunders versus Pro-Choice Network of Western New York. Did you hear it?
I did.
Was there a word missing?
Title Reverend.
Yeah, wasn't in there. In your book, you said it was a big deal, so much so that you winked at your brother. Did you wink at your brother?
Yes.
What'd you wink for if it wasn't in the title?
Well, it was our case.
But that's not, you said you winked because they included Reverend in the title, and the transcript says Mr. Rehnquist didn't.
Perhaps not.
Perhaps? Court reporter get it wrong? Did he say it and the court reporter get it wrong?
Well, then.
Well, we got the audio too. I'm going to play that for everyone to hear.
We'll hear argument first this morning, number 95-1065, Paul Schenck and Dwight Saunders versus Pro-Choice Network of Western New York.
Reverend, did you hear that?
I did.
Was there a word missing that's different from what you put in your book?
A title, yes.
What was that title?
Reverend.
Reverend was not there. Right? Did you wink at your brother?
I think I did. In fact, I think I actually hooked him.
So now you got more details. You got the key detail wrong, what you were writing about in your book, but now you remember an additional detail. You not only winked, you elbowed your brother. Even though the reason for the wink in your writing was the fact that Reverend was using the title, something that had never been done, but it wasn't used. But we're supposed to believe you today. We're supposed to take your word over Justice Alito's word. We're supposed to take your word over a lady who gave you dollars donated to your cause, Miss Gail Wright. You're disparaging her name, Justice Alito's name, and the court.
Out appropriate documents for admission to schedule an appointment to come to the border. They can now go on their phone and schedule a time to come to the border and then be admitted. And you identified 7 separate border points of entry where they could come. 5 of them in Texas, 2 of them in California, 1 in Arizona. It's like a concierge service for illegal immigrants. My question is, you didn't think the border crisis was bad enough that now we're going to have an app that allows illegals to schedule their appointments and come and be admitted to this country?
Senator, you're mischaracterizing the use of the application. Let me explain it to you. We are currently enforcing the public health order of Title 42, and I know you're very familiar with it. There is a process for individuals who claim an exception to the Title 42 expulsion authority because of an acute medical condition.
Well, let's talk about this app.
If I may finish, an urgent humanitarian reason. So instead of them coming in between the ports of entry to claim that urgent medical condition, that extraordinarily acute humanitarian cause, we allow a limited number to arrive at our ports of entry and seek the emergency relief that they need.
Schedule, you allow them, let's be particular about
And
what
I
you
should
do.
say
You
that the CBP One app was not unveiled for the first time on January 5th of this year.
no, but you changed it. You made it available on January 5th to the illegals themselves. You don't have to be a lawyer to use it. You don't have to be a member of a non-governmental organization. Anybody can download the app and use it on their phone. And for the first time,
The government didn't just nudge Twitter before the 2020 election. They ran a year-long pressure campaign, whispering about a so-called hack and leak that didn't exist, predicting the timing, the target, and the narrative before it ever happened. And somehow, magically, the Hunter Biden laptop story arrives right on cue, and big tech smothers it in seconds. Then the Biden administration builds a digital fast pass app for illegal migrants, letting them schedule entry into America like they're booking a concert ticket. So you tell me, coincidence or coordination? Stay with me, because what really sits behind all this is power. Who has it? Who wants it? And who they're willing to censor or replace to keep it. Before we break this down, hit like, hit subscribe, and share this video so more Americans wake up. They're counting on silence. We don't do silence here. Now here's the thing. Twitter didn't come up with this censorship strategy by accident. They were groomed into it. Weekly meetings with federal intelligence agencies, FBI, DHS, ODNI. Not one briefing, not a polite heads up. A full year of conditioning. Over and over again, they were told a hack and leak was coming in October 2020 involving Hunter Biden. No evidence, no crime, no hack. Yet the FBI predicted the target, predicted the month, predicted the narrative, while sitting on the laptop the whole time. That's not intelligence work. That's stage management. They didn't warn to protect democracy. They primed platforms to kill a story that could protect democracy from Joe Biden. And Twitter complied. Cozy emails, security clearances handed out like candy, a secret communication channel where messages disappear, millions of dollars flowing from the government to Twitter. Let's call this what it is: election interference. Not from Moscow, from Washington, D.C., and then look at the Aspen Institute stunt, a tabletop rehearsal with media outlets and tech reps gaming out how to discredit the Hunter Biden story, months before it hit. It's not a conspiracy whisper anymore. It's on paper. It's in testimony. They practiced burying the truth. And 5 days after the New York Post publishes the story, boom! 50+ former Intel hacks sign a letter claiming it smells like Russia. Meanwhile, every one of them knew that laptop was real. They didn't misjudge. They lied. This wasn't about misinformation. It was about control. Who gets to speak? Who gets to know? Who gets to lead? And while all that's happening, the same government rolls out a CBP app turning the southern border into a kiosk check-in system. Illegal migrants getting scheduled appointments, no interviews, no asylum requirement, and in many cases, no follow-up. Meanwhile, Americans are told there's no crisis. People are pouring in, Chinese nationals included, and the administration's response is basically customer service. Imagine if our veterans or small businesses got that level of efficiency. What this really means is simple. The institutions that are supposed to defend the American people have decided it's easier to manage us than serve us. They'll censor you, replace you, silence you, flood the system, and call it compassion and security while they do it. Number. That ends with us standing up, calling it what it is, and refusing to let them memory hold the truth again. If you're tired of being lied to, tired of being treated like the problem in your own country, stick around. We don't back down here. Hit like, subscribe, and share, because the louder we get, the harder it is for them to pretend we don't exist. We see it. We get it. And we're not going anywhere.